everybody. Welcome back to the community center. Is this not awesome? Woohoo! I'm so excited. Just for intro to the room real quick, the restrooms are through this door over here now. So if you need to use the restroom, they're down here. Everybody got that? The water fountain is also down here.
And there's a restroom right
There's a
there.
restroom outside, but
No. There's a restroom.
was there one right there? Yeah. Well, there you go. What do I know?
Three of them.
There's restrooms everywhere. What do you need? Oh, well, we'll move that over a little bit. Hey, Ron, could you move the speaker over so Diana is deaf by the end of our meeting? Thank you. Okay. First and foremost, I want to introduce a few people that are new and some special guests. I'm super excited to announce we have a new neighborhood member, Glen Oaks Garden, which is fabulous. And even more exciting, Joanne Gannot, who has been, Gannett has been on the CCNA board in the past. She's been an active participant. She's been on a committee. And she is back at the table, and I'm super excited to have Joanne back. Welcome, Joanne. Do we have anyone else new at the table of first timers? Gentlemen raising your hand, I can't see you. Go ahead. Tell us who you are and where you're from.
Oh, my name is Paul Scholl, and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and moved down to Sarasota area in 2020, in January, just before COVID. And
Good timing.
moved into the mark, and then things happened, and shit happens. And all of a sudden, we're selling, and we're parting ways, and I'm now living in Cityside for the last 3 years.
Very nice.
And I love the Rosemary.
Beautiful.
Bring this around.
Welcome. I know you guys say that at every one of your meetings. Anybody else news? Please stand and tell us who you are.
I'm Mike Bennett, representing Plymouth Harbor.
Good morning, Mike. Welcome. Anyone else? Hey, just a really quick couple of things. One, this is the month of love. So as you go through your month, as you start to say something snarky or cruel, remember it's the month of love. Say something nice. Or don't say anything at all, as my mother used to tell me. It's also Black History Month, so look for what's happening in the city there. And Embracing Our Differences is back at the park. What's that park called? Bayfront Park. I always get confused with our beautiful park here. Bayfront Park, Embracing Our Differences is up. I also want to recognize our special guests. We have Danny Robbins from SPD presenting today. Interim City Manager Dave Bullock, Steve Cover, Mark Smith, County Commissioner, and his lovely little wife Esther. City Commissioner Kathy Kelly Ulrich, City Commissioner Jen Ahern Koch, City Staff Whitney Costa from Code Compliance. Of course, our very own Nancy Kelly is here this morning. So when we have our neighborhood reports at the end, Nancy is going to take over for Pat, who is out due to a death in his family. And last but certainly not least, Ciera Coleman is here to present the public art program for us. So welcome everyone, but before we get started into our meeting, we're going to segue just real quick. Diana Shaheen is here. She is the Chief Operating Officer for the Bay Park. And we have her and all of her crew to thank for our beautiful new room, and she's just going to take us through a few things real quick. Diana.
Thanks. Thanks, Kelly. Just a couple minutes. Yeah, you could be my Vanna White, Ron. Hey, I just want to welcome you. We got this room ready for you. I'm going to say it's 92% done. Okay, so you'll find the 8% that's not working. If you do find anything, that's what I tell my guests at home, why don't you give it to Ron or Kelly, and they will graciously give it to our team, and we'll get it fixed by next month, hopefully, okay? This is the Bayfront Community Center. You've been here before. It was a $3 million renovation. You can see we raised the ceilings, but we kept, this is the original floor, all new windows by PGT Innovations, who donated that. We do, which is very wonderful, and better light. We do have an ADA lift installed, not because there's anything going on upstairs, but we did provide accessibility if and when the upstairs is used as a space. Okay, and I think this is funded, as you know, primarily it's part of phase 2, and it's 48 of the $65 million, and I'll tell you a couple more things about phase 2, are generously funded by the TIF, that is 50-50 county and city funded. The rest is funded by government grants and private donations, okay? So treat this like your home. Let us know what's not working, but we're thrilled we got it in time for this meeting. I just want to give you a couple bullets on what's happening. My Vanna White Ron is holding this. This is a rendering of Town Square, which is now fenced in. We are very, very excited about it. It's going to be open in October of this year. It better be. And what it contains is we are featuring, our hero is the banyan tree, and it will have this beautiful shade structure that will allow about 500 people seated, so you can bring your lawn chair and go look at a stage, concert on the stage, which will be right here. And we oriented the stage, so this is flipped around. The stage will allow you to look through to see the water, okay? So we see this as another gathering place for the community. I'm gonna try to get a farmer's market here on some frequency. You could have art shows. It'll be great for community events and rentals. So that should open up October of this year. You can put your arms down. Thank you, Ron. We have the municipal auditorium right now open. You may or may not know the city, as their partner, transferred management of it to us in October, so a few months ago. We will run the building through March, and then we will shut it down in April, where we will renovate it, including a new roof, which the city had budgeted for. We will replace the roof, and we will renovate it inside, just to bring it up to modern day. We're not we have a lot of respect for the architecture, don't worry. However, women, we will have all new and plentiful bathrooms in there, which will be huge, and we will improve the acoustics in there as well. So we're doing what needs to be done on that. One more thing, in addition to this town square, there will be a walkway this way on the right behind the Art Center and the Chitsey that will allow pedestrians to connect the town square phase 2 with phase 1. Also on your docket, in the next few weeks, we will be taking the fence down and opening up the day docks, which people can then access the site and the city by water. And the city is working through what that, there will be a limit to the number of hours you could park, someone can dock their boat, and we're working through just the final rollout plan with the city in partnership. We did listen to the boaters, and we did not install cleats on those day docks immediately south of the boat ramps to maximize the amount of distance if you put your boat in on the ramp, and to maximize the distance between the day dock on the south and the ramp on the north. Lastly, Resilient Shoreline Project will, we have the bid in hand, and we will in the next couple of months, excuse me, sorry Kelly, next few months we will begin the Resilient Shoreline Project that will start north of the Van Wezel and go along the coastline up through the west side of Centennial Park. So just wanted to let you know, and want to say thank you again to the county and the city for the TIF, which is so important to bring this one park for all to life. Please come. Our big Black History Month event, we have several in the month, is a week from Sunday. West Coast Black Theater Troupe, what Jazz Links is returning for a 5th year in the park, so please come and support them. Thanks.
Thank you, Diana. For those of you that are like, what's going on? The board's a little light today because we have one board member's daughter getting married, another board member that's ill, and I had knee replacement surgery a month ago, so I'm going to sit instead of normally standing if no one minds. So, Danny, it's up to you. It's time for the police report. Come on over. So Danny doesn't like a PowerPoint, so we don't have one for that this time, but the crime stats by neighborhood are on the website for your perusal. Thank you.
Do I need the microphone? Can everybody hear me? No, I try that every single time, and I can't get it. Good morning, everybody. Great, Diana, great job on the remodel. This is absolutely amazing. To drive past here and see the changes, it's absolutely amazing. And thank you so much. Danny Robbins, Sarasota Police Department Crime Prevention Unit. Officer Matt is off, so I'm stepping in for Officer Matt. Just to go over this real quick, I know you have a big schedule today, a large schedule. Crime stats we're comparing 2025 to 2026 in January. Going back to 2025, aggravated assaults, we have 7. We're up this year to 12, a difference of 5. In 2025, for robberies, we had 2. In 2026, we had 3. Those numbers are low compared to our national average. Sex crimes, we had 2 in 2025. In 2026, we had 2, no increase. Burglaries, in 2025, we had 7. 7 for 2026, no increase. Larceny from vehicles, in 2025, we had 10. This year, in 2026, we had 9. It decreased in 1. Motor vehicle thefts, we had in 2025, we had 10. In 2026, we had 12. Again, these numbers are low. Can we do better? Absolutely. Can we get to 0? We'd like to try. Larceny from vehicles, I always say it here, 80% of all vehicles that are broken into are unlocked. We have key fobs on our keys. Just lock your car. That's what we ask. Can we get to 0? I would hope so as a crime prevention officer, but we need your help. That's your car. People are looking for the opportunity to just get in your car, steal whatever they can, and go over to a shop, sell it for pennies on the dollar. You'll never see it again. So we need your help. Also, too, I just want to go over on traffic tickets. For the month, we had 567 tickets, 579 warnings. That's a total of 1,146 contacts by a police officer, okay? We can do better there. And I think that a lot of people are distracted by their cell phones. Put your cell phone down. You shouldn't be driving. And I see it every time I'm driving into work. All of a sudden, a car starts weaving back and forth, and we see somebody sitting there looking to their right, away from the steering wheel, texting. Put your phone down. And if you know somebody like that, bring it up to them. Call them out on it. That's safety. We had 220 traffic crashes. 9 of those were involved with pedestrians, 10 bicycle involvement. Again, if we go back to it and we start looking at statistics, people are distracted in driving. And we can always do better. And I'll call myself out on it. I've done it. And then, you start, it's not safe. So we have to stop. So what do? I take my phone, I put it on the passenger seat, and I turn it upside down. So it's on silent. I don't know if anybody's calling me, and I drive into work safely. And that's what I want to just end this on as far as defensive driving. Stay focused, look ahead, maintain your safe distance, maintain speed. Okay? We can cut down these traffic tickets and warnings of 1,146 contacts in 1 month. No texting, and put your phone down. And just pass this on to other people, your family members, because we're all guilty of it. And let's just make this road safe. We're getting, the city's going vertical. We're getting a lot of people coming in here. This population is booming. That brings in more cars, but let's be safe. And that's something that we can as far as control. Lastly, let's get our 10,000 steps in. We talked about the Bayfront, embracing your differences. I'm leaving here to go over there to work. Beautiful weather today. Last week it was 37 degrees. With the wind chill, it probably brought it down to 15. Today, let's get our 10,000 steps in. Come over there, check out it. You can walk over to the bridge. Beautiful scenery downtown. I thank you for having us. My business cards are there. If anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And again, thank you for having us. Have a great day. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Danny? Officer Danny?
That means I did a great job. I answered everything.
I would add one thing. We are in season. Assume the person in front of you does not know where they're going. Give them plenty of space and be patient. Next up, Treasurer's Report. Melinda's off having a daughter getting married, so I can tell you we have $5,690.66.
We still have a handful of neighborhoods that have not paid their annual dues. Your area rep has reached out to you. If you are one of them, please try to get those in sooner than later so we don't have to chase you anymore. That would be really, really appreciated. Next area rep reports. Beth, you're first. Beth has nothing to report. Thank you. Leslie. Here you go.
For Area C, the only issue is related to the revision of the citywide sound ordinance, with some residents supporting different or more conservative sound parameters for the non-downtown residential areas, and removal of the exemption held by the Sarasota Community Schools. Thank you.
I want to introduce somebody I saw walk in late. I don't know where he went. Ah, there he is. Jesse Coleman from WSLR Fogartyville. He's our general manager. Good guy, great place. Thank you for coming. This is funny, Jesse. Okay, next up, committee reports. I'll do parks really quickly. We did parks presentation in our last meeting, and instead of going to the city and having more meetings, I got my knee cut into. So more to come on that. We will be working on the recommendations that we all agreed to. The traffic calming phase 2 committee that Karen and Avi Marie will be our presenters at our next meeting to let you know where we're at there, and a lot of good things happening there with the transportation plan with the city. We handed out the safe speeds in your neighborhood signs to the members a couple of meetings ago. There were some neighborhoods that didn't take signs. If you want signs and you did not get any, see me after. I have the final last few signs in the trunk of my car today, and I would like them to all go away to one of you today. Joanne Gano is sorry, I always pronounce your name wrong. Joanne G. Jeez, Kelly. Is on the Traffic Safety Committee Phase 1, and she's going to give that presentation this morning. The one is out.
Okay. Good morning. It's nice to be back with CCNA. And I'm just going to hold this letter up here because this letter was sent and distributed by email to each neighborhood president, delegate, and alternates concerning traffic monitoring initiative. Let us know if you did not receive it. It's not too late to become involved. This is a community SPD cooperative initiative. We need the buy-in of interested neighborhoods, and so far we have 8 neighborhoods who have responded. We need your neighborhood to either reply yes or no, and I will be sending a clipboard around so that we know that each neighborhood here at the table has heard the presentation and is interested or not. It's important that you know what is involved if your neighborhood decides to participate in the initiative. Your neighborhood must be willing to participate actively. 2 volunteers from the neighborhood is a must. Speed on local streets to be monitored at locations, times, and days selected by your neighborhood with the guidance of SPD. Compile and present the data collected according to the directions of SPD. Be willing to undergo SPD training in the use of a laser speed monitor device. Provide a contact person with an email and a phone number. By March 7th, our next CCNA meeting, provide us with the names and contact information of the 2 volunteers from your neighborhood. A period for monitoring your neighborhood should be at least 1 week, 7 consecutive days. Information to be gathered with SPD is location, times, number of cars, speed, registered by laser. Organizing information for analysts to be shared with CCNA and SPD. And again, if there are any questions, you can contact either Norm Dumaine, his email and phone number, and I'll make sure that that gets out to each neighborhood, or myself, Joanne Bonnet, with my email and phone number. And here is the clipboard that I'm going to send around, so that we can at least we know the neighborhoods here who would like or not like to participate.
Do you want them to sign if they've already responded to the
Yes,
email?
well they can put yes on there because they've already responded. You're gonna be signing those 2 sheets.
Thank you, Joanne. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
Put the letter on the clipboard just so I can look.
We'll also email it out again
But
after the meeting.
I'll put the letter behind on the clipboard, no problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stormwater, Beth.
Good morning. Next month, which will be March, at the CCNA meeting, Saji and Nick Patel and some people from stormwater management for the city are going to give us an update specific to Hudson Whitaker Bayou initiatives, how the community can remain engaged and knowing of what's going on with those infrastructure, the dredgings. Where they're also going to talk about some of the capital improvement projects that maybe are significant to our communities. And then someone is going to do an overview of the 311 system, which is what we all should be using when we want to report issues within our own communities relative to stormwater maintenance requests. And we're going to do some basically public education. It's a good time to do it now before we really need it next fall when we know these storms will come back and we'll need this knowledge. So should be good if you're interested in stormwater, which you should because water has no boundaries.
Ron?
Thank you. For U.S. Recycling, this is the Air Quality Committee update. Thanks to Commissioner Smith, McDowell, the affordable housing developer that has offered to buy the property, received a grant of a little over $3 million, and that was directly because of Commissioner Smith, so thank you for that. Now on the not so fortunate side, the owners still have yet to sign a contract, and the committee and CCNA are pulling multiple levers. We are not taking our foot off the gas, and there's actually quite a bit to report, but I'll do that at the next CCNA meeting because we simply just don't have the time. So just know that it's not resolved yet, but that CCNA has several tacks that we're currently taking.
Thank you, Ron. All right. It is time for the reason you came. Ciera Coleman, CR Program Administrator, is going to take us through what's going on. Thank you for being with us this morning, Ciera. I know you have a lot going on. I'm going to move out of the way.
Hello. All right, let's see. Well, first off, good morning. My name is Ciera Coleman. A little about myself, I am a Sarasota native. I grew up very integrated in the Sarasota arts community. My mother was actually a sculptor, and I'd be remiss not to mention that she actually was one of the artists who made that fish right over there. And my grandmother also actually moved here in the 50s, in part because of the art scene. So it feels very personal to me to be in this role, and I really enjoy getting to work on the projects that I do. My throat doesn't enjoy public speaking, so apologies for that, but it'll go away. So it being February, I wanted to do a little bit of a year in review of last year. I started this position a little bit over a year ago. And I wanted to kind of, tell you about all the great things that we've been doing and a few things to look forward to. So last year, actually, before we get started, everything that you see in this presentation is really because of the public art plan. This was adopted in August of 2023, and it really expanded our public art program. It invited, excuse me, I gotta feel like a jumping jack or something. It invited a lot of new types of projects, a lot of community outreach and community partnerships, and it really expanded our ability to bring new types of public art to Sarasota. So that being said, the first project actually was approved long before the public art plan was approved back in 2019. This is the 14th Street roundabout, just up the street there at US 41. And due to COVID, supply chain delays, and budget issues, this project went through several phases until it was finally executed in January. And I think, oh, my video didn't work, sorry. There's a video here, unfortunately it's not working, but it was a late night installation where I got to meet some members of the neighborhood association as they were clapping for the art as it was installed. And the artist told me that was the first time that he's ever had an audience clapping for an installation. So that was pretty exciting. And I will say that we are working toward getting the 10th Street Roundabout installation moving forward. The standards have changed since it was first approved for the FDOT community aesthetic feature application that we have to do for those. So it is taking a little bit of time, but we're working on it, and we hope that we'll be able to get that moving later this year. And this is just a great photo. We've been working with a local photographer, Dylan John Wade Cox, and he snapped this drone shot, which I think is just a beautiful image that shows how the art integrates with the community. How passers-by get to have this stunning art experience, and how it integrates the spaces around it, and the you get to see the bridge in the background, and it really just encapsulates, I think, a lot of great things about Sarasota. This was the first. This is a mural, 2 murals in the alleyway behind the Parker Robinson Interiors building by our local artist David Lee. This was the first of our Call for Walls initiative, which funds public art murals on private walls. The murals are a tribute to Sarasota circus culture and historic, vintage tourism. This is also part of the Florida Legacy Mural Series, so part of that which was introduced to highlight our region's arts history, cultural history, and even our local flora and fauna through the arts. And we also had closed out this year our Florida Highwaymen exhibit in the City Hall Cultural Heritage exhibit. The City Hall Cultural Heritage exhibit is, we introduced it to bring public art into public places. It's a museum quality experience that is completely free. The public can come see it anytime City Hall is open, so 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, except on holidays. We worked with Roger Lytle, who is one of the foremost experts and largest collectors of Highwaymen art, and we were very fortunate to feature him in some lectures and presentations. He's a wealth of knowledge, and so these photos are from a special presentation we did last year for Black History Month to close out the exhibit. And once that closed out, we brought in the Petticoat Painters, which is a group of women painters based in Sarasota. They've been around since the 50s, and if you haven't gotten a chance to see this exhibit, I definitely recommend coming to City Hall. It's a dynamic exhibit. It's about 25 artists, invite-only group, and they have a variety of different mediums, everything from oil paint to photography to textile. And I'll tell you too, we have, oh shoot, that'll come up. I'll tell you something later about it. Sorry. So this was our first, we did this exhibit in phases. So this is phase 1, and this is from the opening, and I'll tell you later about how when phase 2 comes along. This is a developer project at the entrance to the parking garage at the Hollywood 11, or the Astor and Links development. It's by artist Zachary Oxman. It's quite a monumental piece if you haven't seen it. And a point to make too is that all of our public art is funded by developer fees. So one thing is in Sarasota for developments over $1 million, the city for mixed use, commercial mixed use and multifamily, we levy a 0.5% fee for public art. So those developers can either contribute that fee to the fund, which goes to all of our other community-wide projects, or they can install the art on site. And this developer is kind of interesting because they had another development in Chicago, and they had worked with this artist previously up there. So they brought him down to Sarasota. So it's kind of a neat way to bring a new artist to Sarasota and into our collection. This is Take Your Kids to Work Day. I just had to throw this in here. I was just really, the city really does an amazing job with Take Your Kids to Work Day. As a mom and as the advocate for moms, I just really appreciate that. And this year was special because this was, being in this job, you know, it has a different role. I used to work as the marketing coordinator for the city for a few years, and actually kind of helped. I took all the photos for Take Your Kids to Work Day, so I was a little bit less engaged with my own kids. But this time I had them engage with our public art plan and some images that we had and actually create some artwork for our office, which actually went on to decorate our intern's office, which I'll tell you about in a little bit too. This was a stunning mural. It is a stunning mural by a local artist, swirly painter. It's on the Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences building. This is also a Call for Walls mural. This one, you know, especially being here, you know, with all these neighborhoods, this one really involved a lot of neighborhood feedback and support. You can see in the image from the dedication ceremony, we had representatives from just so many different angles and pieces of the neighborhood come together to celebrate, you know, the Reverend Lewis and Irene Colson, who were the pioneers of the Overtown neighborhood, which is the historic black neighborhood that became the Rosemary District now. So this was part of the Overtown Mural Initiative as well, or adjacent to it, which, you know, is bringing the local history to the community through art. So, let's see. And speaking of my intern, or our intern, we were very fortunate to have a student intern this summer from New College, and she transformed our GIS. I don't think she planned on it, and this is actually from one of our first visits. This is our GIS coordinator showing her how to use our on-site condition survey reporter. Side note, I have to learn how to use this myself next week, so. And you can see the art in her office here. She actually created, and I'm gonna pass around, I have a bunch of these in the back, and you're welcome to take a few. She updated our GIS database and also created a public-facing tour, which we now have also integrated our previously existing audio tour, so it's a comprehensive way. You can turn your location on and actually see the art that's around you. And it's been really helpful for, you know, sharing the stories behind the artwork. And I'm gonna have to also mention that she's right in the back over there. She deserves a round of applause. She's an amazing intern. She works so hard for us, and I still talk about her all the time. And she's actually doing her thesis on connection and public outreach and public art and neighborhood outreach and all of that. So I told her she should come here, and if you'd like to, is it okay if I tell them to talk to you? Share your feedback. I'm sure she'd appreciate it. So yeah, it is awesome. This is, you may know about this. This was Mr. Red. This was a sculpture created by artist David Langley. He was a young artist, and he unfortunately passed away at a young age. But we have a piece of his in the collection, and it's become kind of a well-known piece, you know, kind of a beloved kind of piece in the collection. But unfortunately, over the years, it has taken some damage. It actually was originally located, if you remember, Two Senoritas, just across the street, which, you know, I think people had a few too many margaritas and thought taking a ride on the horse was a good idea a few times. And then from there, it got relocated to, you know, Gulfstream Avenue, where it unfortunately, over the years, the hurricanes kind of increasingly took a toll. And this past you know, 2 hurricane seasons ago, which we all remember, you can see here, took some significant damage. So we really tried to figure out what the best course of action. This sculpture is essentially upside down in maintenance costs you know, because it was a relatively inexpensive sculpture to begin with. It actually wasn't really in materials that were intended to be outdoors. So we worked with John Dowd, who's actually the son of Jack Dowd, a local well-known sculptor, to restore and reinforce Mr. Red. And we've relocated it onto the City Hall campus, where we have a little bit more supervision. It's an area that's more protected by, you know, from wind and storm, and it's actually among red flowering jatropha trees, so it's kind of a nice sighting for it. And we'll talk in a minute. Oh, actually, no, I'll talk right now. We're going to be launching a community outreach campaign. I've sort of soft launched it now. You may have seen for how we replace Mr. Red. Despite its vulnerability to water incursion and wind, it's a great placement for art, and we would like to see something back there. So we have a QR code, or you can go to the Public Art website and find it pretty easily. To provide your feedback, we use the Engage HQ platform. And some of the ideas proposed were, well, do we make a replica or a tribute somehow? Maybe it's Mrs. Red, a companion piece. Or relocate another work in the collection. We have a few pieces that are kind of hidden, and not really getting the interaction that they deserve. Or just something completely new. So, really going to take our time with this and try to feel out what the right fit for the community is. Like, a lot of people feel really strongly, and we're necessarily thrilled about it moving in the first place, but also understand that this is kind of our last chance with the integrity of the original artwork because if it gets destroyed again, it's not going to be revivable. So, it sounds extra sad when you're talking about a horse, right? So, yeah. You may have also seen, this is something we're very proud of. We've been talking, the Public Art has been talking for a long time about trying to, and actually my boss Steve, I think, introduced this idea many years ago about bringing projection art and interactive art to the community. And actually, that's not knocking, is it?
Yeah, it's not you.
Okay.
It's outside.
Sorry. Our public art chair at the time, Jonathan Parks, was actually the architect on the Palm Avenue parking garage. And he just mentioned it in passing. He's like, because I was like, oh, we want to do it on the sales of the parking garage. He's like, those are scrims. Those were originally intended to be scrims. And as the architect, he had his original vision was actually, which is a little ambitious, I'm going to say, to project live performances. Like, so the opera, maybe you're running late to the opera show, you can see it on the parking garage. So again, ambitious, but very creative, great idea. And so for one night, we were able to execute this really fantastic event. It really required the partnership of a lot of different organizations and people. Bay Plaza allowing us to use their rooftop, the Downtown Improvement District, and Fresh Fridays, and Nextmark for allowing us to partner with the Fresh Fridays event. Barco loaned us a projector that cost about as much as my house. And the utilities department also came and set us up with, generators and powers. And so there was a lot of different pieces that had to come together for this experience to happen. But if you were there, if you heard about it, it was really fantastic. And we do hope to bring back more like it. And actually, as such, we celebrated with the students. It was so heartening. They were so excited. With Public Art in Motion Day, a few weeks later, we presented them with a proclamation at the City Commission meeting, and actually they are applying for an Addy Award because of all this. So it's kind of neat to get a little bit of, they're very proud, and we're very proud to work with them. And again, working with the college, too, has been a long-standing goal of the Public Art program. So this really was a proud moment. As well as this is our first major public art installation for District 3, and the first one for the Arlington Park neighborhood. And what's great about it too is it was painted with the support of more than 100 community members during our first ever community paint day. This artist is Alyssa Silvers, or Liz. She's a wonderful artist, and I'll show you some photos from the community paint day. Very patient. Even when people started painting the wrong colors, some of the kids got a little bit too excited there. I think you can actually see that happening right here. But it was wonderful. I want to recognize, we had our vice mayor there, we had our neighborhood association president, we had our CCNA president, we had Steve Cover, my own kids, my husband Jesse, this is my husband by the way, Jesse Coleman. Jesse was there helping out. Actually, Liz's husband also. They were our primary volunteers for the day. It was the husband brigade. So this is a really great community event, and it's so wonderful now, seeing the mural in the park when it's activated, seeing a water aerobics class in front of that, or I look forward to seeing they do a aqua Easter egg hunt coming up soon, and it's just a great. It's really, really woke up that space. And this is what I mentioned. We also, in late last year, installed phase 2 of the Petticoat Painters exhibit. This is all new artworks and actually added a few new artists. We squeezed in a few more into City Hall there. And with that, we had an opening reception recently in January. So this is where we're getting into 2026. And this was great because we involved Sarasota Contemporary Dance, and it was just amazing, actually. Blew my expectations away. Where we had a dancer actually interact with the Earth Mother sculpture. And this is something that I thought was really, I'd like to see more of, which is, integrating performance art with public art. And we do plan to, for the closing reception coming up March 27th, save the date, we're hoping to work with maybe Booker VPA dance students and actually expand to other sculptures on the City Hall campus. So that's something we also, we have a new public art committee member, also Maria Shadler-Luera, who has a great background in interpretive and performance public art. So we're hoping to do more of that in the coming year too. I'm gonna get a sip of water. Why use this QR code? So this is coming up very soon. We're having a Meet the Petticoat Painters Film and Artists Q&A. It's on February 27th, a Friday, in City Hall Commission Chambers. It'll be a short film, about 20 minutes, and then we'll have the artists are kind of going to do there's 9 artists that will do a mini presentation about their work and their practice, and then we'll open it up to a moderated Q&A panel. So you don't have to reserve a seat, but you can. And you can use this QR code on our website to do that. This was yesterday. I don't have updated pictures, but we just celebrated this mural yesterday at a dedication. I think I see the artist in the room is Ed Walsh. This is a great example, again, of partnering with the neighborhood association. I went to speak at the Bayou Oaks neighborhood meeting and kind of talked about, our public art program and how to, apply for a project. And so they, worked with Ed to put together a proposal. So he's not only an artist, but a Bayou Oaks resident, a Ringling alumni. And this is on the bathroom pavilion building in North Water Tower Park. So this is also the first public art installation for the Bayou Oaks neighborhood. And we hope to see more. So this is a look ahead. So these are things that are coming soon, let's just keep going. So this is our new swirly painter mural. It's called Creative Seeds. It's at the Sarasota School of Arts and Sciences. So when this project was first approved with the Colson mural, it was approved in 2 phases. So the Lewis and Irving Colson mural honors the neighborhood's past and history. And this mural, Creative Seeds, honors the children of the neighborhood and the school and the future. And if you look closely, there's the representation of arts and music and kind of talking about the future of Sarasota's arts culture. So we will be scheduling a dedication ceremony soon for this one, probably later this month or early in March. And the plan is to involve the students because the last one was middle of the summer, so we weren't able to. So these photos don't do this justice. The scale is just incredible. And then this is a unique one. This was a piece that was actually located in storage for a period of time, kind of forgotten about. The artist is unfortunately passed away, and we didn't really know much about it. We had very little on record. But when I was reviewing it with Public Works, Todd from what's his position officially? Assistant director? Well, anyway, the leader in Public Works, Todd Kaczarski, he's a big supporter of the arts. And as you can see here, this is a little side note. When Anna, our intern, was doing research on the collection and compiling our records, we started finding these flyers that Public Works used to make for the artwork. And these photos are so cool because they're just so proud to be, they look like album covers, we kept joking about. And so there's, as we looked through this, and this is just one example, we found there was this long-standing connection between Public Works and the public art program. And so we wanted to honor that, and they had a site that was kind of open right at the Public Works campus at 12th Street. And so we reinstalled the sculpture there. It's also going to be, there's a tribute to Doug Jeffcoat, their longtime director. So we'll be scheduling a dedication ceremony there too. And this is a neat, I felt really strongly about this. Todd, he was just, I was like, wow, what is that? And he's like, I don't know, but if, nobody wants it, we'll take it. And I thought, well, that's I love that, like public works workers deserve to see art too, It also is an area that we don't have a lot of art. It's unexpected, it's kind of a surprise. And so it's a small project, but I find it really meaningful and kind of special. So we'll be putting out more about a dedication ceremony for that soon. And then also coming soon, this was a little bit delayed because you apparently can't apply Wi-Fi or vinyl wraps in cold weather. But we're looking at these should be installed probably next week, knock on wood, at Arlington Park. These are Wi-Fi box wraps from a local artist, Jennifer Geiger. She's a digital design artist who's actually a patron of the Arlington Park Aquatic Complex. So we had talked to her actually initially about the mural project that when we were getting bids for it. And we realized that she would be a perfect fit for this project. So if you're not aware, the city has free Wi-Fi in the park at certain city parks, and Arlington Park is one of them. But they also come along with these kind of plain boxes that are just right in the middle of the park. And so Parks and Rec wanted to have some designs that would both enhance and integrate with the park. Not so they have a little bit of a camouflage, and you can't really see too well on the screen, but it's camo bunnies and wild and wonderful, and it's all native flora and fauna, and they have like Wi-Fi symbols integrated throughout the design, so it's kind of a neat little tribute to what they're there for. And this one is going to be completed early next week, I believe. If you haven't been down 10th Street recently, I definitely recommend it. This is Niche Art by Truman Adams. He's a local artist, but this was actually put out as an international call for artists through callforentry.org. We had 133 applicants from all over the world. We went through an extensive process. We had a jury stakeholder group that was composed of neighborhood residents, building residents, neighborhood leadership to evaluate those initial submissions, and then the final 5 designs all went out to a community survey, and this design won about half of the vote. So won at Fair and Square, a local artist. I just love that story, and I think he's doing a great job. And this is another example of the neighborhood really coming together to create this project. So, and just a side note too, the Public Art Committee also voted. All of the finalists received strong feedback, pretty positive feedback. So these 3 murals have actually been selected to find a new home, essentially. And we're working on it. But that being said, this one in particular was their #1 priority, and I had a great site lined up for it that unfortunately fell through. So if you know of any great walls, and I'm actually this great opportunity to pass around some other cards, and I have more of these in the back. For our Call for Walls initiative, we just require the owners to enter into a longevity agreement where they won't destroy or alter the mural for a period of time, typically 10 years, and that they'll do basic maintenance if needed, but typically, there won't be much maintenance on a well-prepared, well-sealed mural. So this one, we were looking for, to try to find the Osprey Avenue connection still, but we'd be open to any large wall. What we would do is also connect the neighborhood and the building owner with the artist to develop the proposal to be really site-specific to whatever wall is selected. So if you know anybody, let me know. This one's also been a long time coming. This one was approved a few years ago as part of the Statues for Equality initiative by the artist Gillian Mark. They're out of Australia. Less than 5% of bronze figurative statues are of women across the world. Excuse me. And they wanted to change that, and so they put out an initiative where they would basically match the cost of bronze sculpture for communities that they nominate a local figure that would be worthy of recognition. It could be a historic figure, it could be a community advocate. So at the time, the Public Art Committee voted on Dr. Eugenie Clark. Excuse me, my voices betraying me. And the public art program worked with Dr. Clark's family to refine the design with the artists, going so far as to make sure that, like, you know, the mask is the right scale. So you can see this is the mock-up, and they first do it in clay, and you know this is the final where this is like a completely accurate to spec mask. They actually 3D printed something to make that as accurate as possible. So that was this is actually being shipped to us currently from Australia, and we plan to site it. Can't really see this too well, but this is Moat Marine. Near the entrance here off Ken Thompson Parkway. So while Moat Marine's public operations have moved to UTC, this kind of will bring back some more interaction with the public, and they will be expanding their research operations out there as well. And so we've been working with them on plans for the installation, and we should hopefully have that going later this year. And we also just started the site planning for sculpture at Payne Park Tennis Center. It's also District 3. This is a New York-based artist, Michael DiCarlo. He's got public art pieces across the world, actually, some monumental pieces. And I love that he applied for this tennis center project. We really didn't know what to expect as far as putting out a call for artists for a sculpture related to tennis. And this one really was strongly responded to because it has the literal tennis racket appeal, but it also has an abstract element as well. And so I think it's going to be really stunning, and can't wait to see that one. So stay tuned for more news on that one probably later this spring. And we're also just approved our next City Hall Cultural Heritage exhibit. If you remember a while back at the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, there was a large-scale artwork by Regan Dunnick and Frank Hopper. They're local artists, and these are very large artworks that document Sarasota history from the 1800s through the 20th century. Regan Dunnick is actually the chair of the illustration department at Ringling. It's a shame it's a little bit washed out, you can't see all the detail. He's a very well-known illustrator, and he has works in the Library of Congress. And this is just one example of the works that documents in the Sarasota's history and pioneers. Frank Hopper is an acclaimed realist painter, and again, photos do not do this justice. This is an oil painting, and the detail is just incredible, and it's just the size of that wall, basically. And so he's known for his large-scale historic murals and figurative realism. And this piece right here depicts the Sarasota Centennial. So you've got everything from Hamilton Gillespie to the statue of David, can't remember the notable clowns from Sarasota, notable natives. So there's some really amazing details in his work. And we're partnering for that exhibit with the Van Wezel and Arts Advocates. So the Van Wezel, going back to the City Hall walls, we cannot accommodate all of the collection, and so we're trying to find a partner. And so we're still working on the final plans, but the idea is to cite some of the artwork at the Van Wezel and partner with the Arts Advocates to offer public tours of the artwork. Arts Advocates also has an incredible collection of historic Sarasota artwork on loan throughout the Van Wezel, and they offer tours currently. And the idea also is to potentially bring some of their other historical artwork into City Hall. And this one was just approved. Thank you to Sherman with our Park East neighborhood and Limelight District coordination. This is on 12th Street at the Can-Tan Vintage building. This is a local formerly local muralist. She's in college right now in Detroit, getting her MFA, but she'll be coming back to paint this mural for the Can-Tan Vintage building at Annie Dong. And actually, she has a mural right over there, right behind the fish. At the Art Center Sarasota, she did a really great collaborative project with the Boys and Girls Club. So, you must be wondering, how can neighborhoods get involved with public art? And you can hear me, there's been, actually, real quickly, I neglected to put a slide on the thing that I was most excited to talk to you about today, which is directly relevant to this slide, is we have an open call for artists right now. for the Amaryllis Park Place mural. So we've been working with the Sarasota Housing Authority. Part of the public art plan. See if I'm smooth enough to pull to this real quick. Come on. Oh, yeah, I did. So a big part of the public art plan is installing art on attainable housing developments. One thing to know about our public art fee with developers is that we do not require it for attainable housing developments or portions of developments that are attainable housing. But we don't want those developments to not have art, and so it's specifically in the plan to prioritize projects. Hold on, I'm gonna put my jacket on. Sorry. Sweating. All right. Laugh and make me feel like that was me. Thank you. So we worked with the Sarasota Housing Authority to identify a location, and there's this big, beautiful wall right along Orange Avenue at Amaryllis Park Place. So we have a $25,000 artist call open right now through February 15th. We'll have a stakeholder panel that includes neighborhood residents, neighborhood leadership, community residents, even one of our public art committee members who also lives in the neighborhood, to evaluate those applications. And then the finalists will be work directly with the community on their final designs. They'll go back for community feedback. So I'm going to pass these around. If anybody knows any artists, this is specifically open to local and regional artists. We really wanted to give this opportunity to our local artists. And we felt like with this mural, it's important that they understand, you know, they have a connection to the community as they work on their final designs. So back to this. Public art plan. In the public art plan, which I have some copies in the back, I'd love for each neighborhood to have a copy. I don't think I have enough. Some of you already have one. But if I don't have one for you today, I'm happy to, you can stop by my office, or it's actually, we have it also on our website. But neighborhoods are absolutely essential to the public art process. Kelly's heard me say it, where'd you go, Kelly? 100 times. It's, I think, crucial. I think it's the most important thing, because neighborhood support and neighborhoods being a part of the process is exactly how art has longevity. If a neighborhood doesn't support artwork, it's not going to last very long. And so it's very important to me that at every step of the way, and it's also outlined in the public art plan, we consult with and we work with our neighborhoods. And that can mean everything from proposing public art projects like the Bayou Oaks neighborhood, helping evaluate calls for artists like the ones I mentioned, helping facilitate community outreach and feedback, helping let the community know about installation plans. There's a lot of partnership. I'm happy to come and speak at your meeting, maybe a little bit shorter so I don't run into this issue. And answer any questions, work directly with the neighborhood. A big part too of the public art plan is having a citywide public art strategy. Currently, more than 90% of our collection is within a 1 mile radius of downtown, and we'd like to change that. And neighborhoods are going to be the key for us to do that. So I welcome your collaboration, and I'm open to questions.
All right, thank you, Ciera. Questions for Ciera? Oh, I have a comment, Ciera. Gillespie Park would love a sculpture in our park. Thank you so much. See, that's how you get started. You ask. If you don't ask, you don't get.
And with parks too, I should mention that we really do try to honor, Parks and Recreation's master planning and try to work with congruently with them as much as possible. It's also great for cost savings, and so as Kelly knows, I went to the first meeting with Parks and Rec about the Gillespie Park updates, and I try to go to those meetings whenever possible and be there to answer questions. So, because that's the first step is the community asking for it, and especially in those when there's already going to be construction and it's simple to say add a pad for a sculpture or something like that, and that really helps us to, I really like to work collaboratively with that department as much as possible.
All right.
I have just one thing to say.
Excuse me, could you just say your name and your neighborhood before you ask your question?
Sherman Baldwin, Park East. I wanted to thank Ciera for working with us and me on a public arts project mural for the Can Vintage really is exciting that it's expanding throughout the entire city, and it's welcome to have things like that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other questions?
There's one right here.
Scott Ashby was leader of Key, and that's really amazing, wonderful.
Thank you.
And I'm sure you get this question, is there any possibility of bringing back the sculptures on the bayfront?
It's funny you ask. We're working on it. Yes, we've had some initial meetings where some of the infrastructure from the original exhibit is still there, but we're evaluating. What he's talking about is the Season of Sculpture exhibit, which was a temporary rotating exhibit along the bayfront between Selby Gardens and Bayfront Park. So actually, Steve and I just went out there the other day to look at the sites and see what is still there. But we're working toward potentially this fall, like coming up this, because we want to do it outside of hurricane season. So potentially next season, we're working toward that. Yeah, we might start a little bit smaller than it was and build it back up. But we agree. We hear that question a lot, and I grew up with Season of Sculpture, and a lot of our most iconic artworks actually originated from Season of Sculpture, and I think it would be appropriate and the right thing to do to bring it back. So.
Hi, Elizabeth Rose, Bay Point Park. Thank you for your presentation. I watch the Public Art Committee meetings all the time, and it's amazing how engaged they are and the variety of participants you have: architects, artists, educators. It's really great. And your star student this year is like,
isn't she incredible?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
so I just want to make sure we all recognize this is a department of one human being.
Yeah, thank you.
And I would hope that we would all support having her get at least another half a human being in next budget season, maybe a whole human being. And the arts is such an economic driver and just contributes so much to our own well-being. So it's not really a question, it's just comments.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, we're looking at potentially doing that or expanding our. We really felt like it was valuable having we had a great experience with the intern, and having interns is kind of also part of the public art plan goals, teaching and giving those experience to students too. And so we're looking at different ways that we can do that. So I appreciate you noticing that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ciera. All right, thank you. Yeah, Gillespie Park sculpture. Hey, Sherman, I was thinking that church right beside Shenandoah Park would be a great mural spot. All right, thank you. Next up, we added this at the 11th hour, so humor me, please. We're going to maybe go a little long today. We have Interim City Manager Dave Bullock, who you may or may not know is going to be leaving us and actually retiring on March the 6th. So we asked him to take some questions from us as his outgoing comments, because he could be honest and forthright and tell it like it is. And I honestly believe that if you don't ask for critique of what you're doing, you can never do better. So, Dave, please join us up front. Thank you. And I'm going to get out of your way. And the questions will be on the board there in case anybody forgets what was asked. Dave, would you like me to read you the question? Or you want to read it?
We'll make it up as we go.
Okay, do your thing, man.
Can everybody hear? Yeah. Okay. First of all, I want to say, well, following Ciera is like, it's death. But what a pleasure for any manager worth their salt to have staff like Ciera. I mean, she's a person who feels her job in her heart and represents the community in the best way you could ever hope for. And we are blessed in the city to have a lot of really good staff. And I've spent most of my career wandering around local government and could hope for the quality of the staff that we have here. So thank you, Ciera. And please, as you're interacting with the city, don't overlook those folks who really dedicate their life and their heart to trying to make the city a better place every day. So I'm on my way out March 6th. So Pat Robinson likes to say he's the most dangerous person in the city because he can say whatever he thinks at this point in time. I like to think I could say whatever I thought before for the rest of my career, but not quite like it is now. So, let's just go through the questions that Kelly submitted, and some of them I'm going to address at some length, some of them I'm going to punt on, because I get to do that. So, first of all, as the city expands, it becomes more complex. Sort of, how does CCNA continue to stay effective? Well, first of all, y'all are on an excellent track that you're on right now. You're constructive, you're organized, you can establish goals and objectives, and the neighborhood organizations are well represented. There's no one in City Hall or any of the city governments who don't know what those initials CCNA stand for. I can't tell you how important that is, because that's not true in every community. So being organized, staying organized, and having the discipline, I mean, I hate to say it, but it takes time. You all know that. It takes time to interact with government. We're clunky by design. We're difficult. It's hard sometimes to find the right person, and you have to do a little hunting. CCNA is the place that can make that interaction faster and more efficient. So the format that you have taken, my first interaction with CCNA was Kelly coming in and saying, look, we want to have constructive conversations. We're not here to just blindly oppose everything. We want to make a positive impact and try to make changes that are comfortable for the neighborhood. It's like, wow, that's, in my experience, that's great. And that is not the case of all neighborhood organizations. So keeping that positive thing, and when necessary, you have to sort of dig in and be very clear about what your objectives are and what you want. But I would say you're a strong organization right now. I want to talk about a little later, I'll take a question. I want to talk about the role of the city versus the role of the state. And that is a significant issue in your future and in your future of local government in Florida. Because you can declare a victory locally and lose the battle and lose the war. So I'll come back to that in a minute. Oh, this is a fun one. So this is about stormwater. Very briefly, I can recall sitting in a meeting in 1998, that's how old I am, where the city and the county formed an interlocal agreement to manage stormwater, have the county manage stormwater citywide. Now, why would they do it? They don't manage stormwater in Venice, they don't manage stormwater in Northport, they surely don't manage it in Longboat Key. Why is the city of Sarasota so doggone special? Okay, now I'm going to interrupt my diatribe here for a minute. February 17th, is that right, Steve? 17th. We're going to give an update to the City Commission on the stormwater situation. For those of you who love stormwater, tune in, and associated with that in the agenda packet will be a very extensive summary of the stormwater situation in the city, and you'll get a presentation on the 17th. You'll be able to look at it. Steve Swall will be there, Nick Patel, Saji Kamia from our staff, and someone from the county will be there. And here's why it's important. The stormwater situation in the city of Sarasota is complex. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the county. The primary stormwater conveyances in the city of Sarasota are owned fee simple by Sarasota County. We don't own them, we don't control them, we never have. Back before the city was the city, but many of those were laid out and dug. They were dug by an organization called the Sarasota and Fruitville Drainage District, is that what they're? And they essentially were draining probably primarily for agriculture. When they dissolved in the 1960s, all of their ownership, all of their property was granted fee simple to the county. So if you think of Hudson Bayou, it's owned. I don't mean they have a right of way. I mean they own the conveyance systems in Hudson Bayou. Everything that runs into Philippi Creek, primarily owned by the county. Even some of what runs in, I'm sorry, I should have said Whitaker Bayou is the first one, is owned by the county. Even some of what runs into Hudson Bayou. So these big ditches that you see when you drive around, that in a storm they're full and overflowing, there's a 95% chance that those are owned fee simple by the county. Not only that, they start in the unincorporated area, and then they collect stormwater there, they run into the city, and in many cases, especially Philippi Creek, they run out of the city and into Philippi Creek. So the complexity and the ownership of the system requires a special attention, and the city and the county were wise back in 1990 and 1998 when they said, we can't separate these systems. Can you imagine if you had a stormwater ditch that was draining all of DeSoto Acres all the way from University, and in fact, some cases all the way into Manatee County, and it was going to flow into the city, and these were totally separate systems. Imagine the battle that would occur when the city says, no more of your stormwater. I mean, it is nonsensical to think that these are two separate systems and should or could be managed separately. Stormwater does not care. It doesn't care about city, county. It doesn't care about commissions. It doesn't even care about your neighborhood. It's going to go wherever the lowest elevation is. I have to apologize for my voice. I'm sorry. I'm getting over this crud that's going on. Anyway, so on the 17th, if you're interested, you can see a short but comprehensive summary of the stormwater system. And if you click on the backup material, you'll see more about stormwater than you ever wanted to know. So there is an interlocal between the city and the county. It's been in place for many years, 28 years. It has a clause in it. It's a fascinating clause to me. It says either party can cancel this interlocal on 30 days notice. So when the interlocal is canceled, if it ever is, and we get 5 inches of rain the next day, all the stormwater is going to behave according to the new requirements of the new interlocal. Okay, so that's a summary on stormwater. I think we need to pay close attention to it, work closely with the county. You know, as you probably know, excuse me, they're reassessing the whole stormwater program. I think they have really good leadership there, and I think we'll see some good improvements there. But don't ever think that the marriage of city and county as to stormwater is going to be simple or can be separated by a vote. It just isn't going to happen with a political decision. It's going to happen when the Lord opens up the deluge and the rain just goes where it wants to go. Okay. This is a good one. For those of you who can't see it, neighborhoods are facing increasing pressure from development. What are the strategies you recommend to protect their character while still engaging productively? Engaging productively, I would say, let's start with that. You guys are pretty good at that as a CCNA. Don't let that slip at all. You will be discouraged in the years to come, and we'll talk about why. Don't be discouraged. You're going to need to continue to be the advocate for your own communities. Excuse me. But as time goes by, the city and county commissions have less and less influence over development. I am not representing the city for the next 3 minutes. I'm just speaking from my own position. Pay attention to who you elect to represent you in Tallahassee. Pay attention. My personal theory, as you drive from Sarasota to Tallahassee, and you get further and further away, those interests that have the primary influence on you, I don't know exactly where it is, maybe somewhere up in the middle of the state, they turn from the neighborhood to another set of interests that are fully at play in Tallahassee. Now, why is that important? In Florida, there's lots of technical names, but it is a hierarchy state. The state gets to tell the local governments what to do. Within the Florida Constitution, they get to do that, as long as they have enough votes. So what have they done over the years? Florida had this, perhaps too constrained, but a fascinating growth management system in place for many, many years, and that began to be deconstructed around 2000. And by the way, it probably needed to be changed. But I believe what's happened is certain interests have found we can get a lot more done at the state level than we can the local level, and began to exert that interest there. So much of the planning requirements are gone. Much of the local government's ability to make development decisions are gone. When you leave the city commission meeting and you think you won, and you say they voted in our favor, don't celebrate too much yet, or celebrate quick, because there are clear, ready processes in place for those developments to come in under a different state law and build their development or a more intense development. So the notion of who's in control locally, and by the way, if you want to have a very depressing day, just look at the bills that are pending right now in Tallahassee, which are geared to remove local decision making. So pay attention to who you elect and who you send. I got one more thing to say, and all the politicians in the room are going to hate me. What they say is interesting. How they vote is what matters. And chances are nobody in this room, or very few, know how your state elected officials voted on some of the key legislation that's impacting your neighborhood. Senate Bill 180, how'd they vote? Does anybody know? What Senate Bill 180 says is you cannot propose or adopt a more restrictive development regulation for all of Sarasota County. So that means you can't change any laws that exist today related to development until Senate Bill 180 expires, if it ever does. So, I mean, these are laws that make incredible constraints on a local government's ability to determine its future. Okay, I'm off my soapbox now. I'm going to skip that one. Can we go to the next one? I don't know who's in control over here. Oh yeah, here's the one I'm going to punt, guys. I'm totally punting short-term rentals. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have a session coming up pretty soon. It's coming back for the commission for a discussion. So I'm going to punt to the people who are going to be more expert, and just let a little time go by. There'll be some more things to talk about. So if you'll forgive me for that punting. Oh boy. Okay, so what's the new gal going to deal with? Well, a lot of interesting. By the way, this is a pretty good job. Managing being a city manager in the city of Sarasota should be a highly desirable job. It's a great deal of fun for those of us who are in the world of city and county management. So what are they going to? I would separate into two categories of what they have to deal with. One you hardly ever see, and that's the internal to the organization category. The city is in significant need internally of modernizing. Modernizing its HR policies, improving its IT, paying a little bit more attention to how the limited resources are allocated and investing at a higher level in its personnel. So I think internally, and I'm not going to spend any more time on that, but there's a lot of work to do. Merit pay, performance pay, making the organization purposefully making it a higher performing organization. Those are not short-term, quick things to do. Those are things that any manager worth their salt will come in and begin to work on. And they'll take years to get it all. You never really get it done. You're always trying to be better if you're a subscriber to the notion of continuous improvement. Now, the other is the external. That's kind of the first one is kind of the city manager weenie. You know, that's what we talk about when we go off into conferences, how to make your organization better. But the external one gets a lot more attention. So we're coming into a time when it's taken Florida a long time to get here, because other states have already made some movements in this over the past 2 decades, where the state government is concerned about, by the way, I love it when the state government is concerned about local governments, because their budget has gone down continuously every year for the past, no, I'm lying, their budget continues to go where it goes. So at this point, the state has 2 big areas they're dealing with local governments. One is how much revenue can you collect? So what is your ability to levy taxes? And the other we've already talked about, which is local control of development. As to the revenue side, I'm sure all of you have read about it, certainly will, there's a movement afoot to place constitutional limits beyond what they are today on local government's ability to levy property taxes. So the governor has announced he wants property taxes to go away because local governments are spending, my words, not his, like a bunch of drunken sailors. Unlike the state. So behind this, and this is the most troubling part of it, you know, I was a history major in college, so I kind of have a soft spot for history. Throughout this country, there's been a belief, I think, that the best government is that closest to the people. Well, we're going through a transition now, I believe, where the best government is the big government. And that's at the base of what you're seeing in much of this movement to take responsibility and authority away from local government and place it in Tallahassee, 6 hours away, where none of us know how our legislators voted on key legislation. So I believe that notion that we know best at the big government level, and we can impose that on the local government level, is firmly entrenched in the legislature right now, and frankly has been for the past probably decade and a half. So a manager has to come in, and there is a possibility that there'll be a constitutional amendment on the ballot in November that limits more than what exists today what local governments can do in terms of imposing property taxes. Now, property taxes are what fund our general fund. It pays for all the police, pays for Ciera, pays for Steve. It doesn't pay your water and sewer. It doesn't pay for your garbage collection or the hazardous waste program that was operating this morning. And if you went there, you could have dropped off your hazardous waste stuff. And I passed your comments on, by the way, to the folks who run it, and they express their appreciation. So a property tax is a big deal, and the biggest consumer of property tax is public safety in the city of Sarasota. So limitations on that, a manager is going to have to figure out if our revenues are reduced, let's just say $5 million a year over the course of 10 years, and our general fund is roughly $100 million, just a little bit more than that. Do that math, and we're going to have to figure out how to provide a service level that fits the community's desires. You heard the gentleman from the police department today tell you that crime is level or reduced over the years, which it is. So we're going to have to continue that with a reducing amount of revenue to pay for it. So that'll be a significant challenge for a new manager coming in to kind of figure out all the meanwhile, as any of you know in your household or your business, your costs go up virtually every year. Regardless of what real estate's doing, you're gonna pay more for all the basic things that you pay more for electric. FPL just got a rate increase. You're gonna pay more for your tires, for your having your vehicle serviced, and you're paying more at the grocery store, et cetera, et cetera. So our employees are feeling that too, and they want to get whatever the amount of reasonable increases the city can afford. So there'll be the squeeze, reduced revenue possibly, and increased cost. How do we maintain service levels in that environment? And should those constitutional amendments, whichever one makes its way to the ballot, if any, should they pass, that'll have the primary attention of local government throughout the state. Because we can impose sales taxes arbitrarily. Those are very tightly controlled, and appropriately so, by the state. We can impose a whole host of taxes. We really live on property tax. That's what we live on. So it'll be an interesting discussion, and I believe those will be the primary challenges for the new person coming in. Two key issues. There's just two. So having talked about the other stuff, let me talk about two projects that move at a glacial speed. First of all, complex public projects are never, ever going to move at the speed that they're first laid out to. I never want to be the guy who writes the first schedule for a complex public project. It is guaranteed you're wrong. And from that moment on, every time you read an article about it, it'll be the woefully behind schedule of blank. Because it just doesn't happen that simple. There's multiple interests, there's neighborhoods, there's business interest, there's political interest, there's all sorts of interests that have to be dealt with in order to move a complex public project forward. So I'll mention two. One is the city in 2024 bought the property right across from City Hall on First Street and intends to have developed a workforce housing project. There's a couple fits and starts there. I think we're on a path now where that has, I can see the path forward. And that's involving the private sector a lot more than was originally envisioned, and relying more on development contracts with people who can actually build and operate those types of facilities. I think the funding is probably within reach without touching the general fund. My whole mantra is whatever we're planning to do, we should try to do it without touching the general fund, because I believe that's going to be under very significant pressure in the years to come. So I think that project, we've got a RFP due in. Because we don't know how to do development and we have no business, I believe, as a city in trying to be a developer, we have issued a procurement, because that's the only way we can buy services, for some group with real estate expertise to help us put together a project that can be developed by the private sector. And now, why do I think that's important? Our friends in Manatee County issued an RFP recently, you're familiar with their government building, to tear down their older garage and build a mixed-use development. So they're trying to attract a developer to do it. They got no proposals. And the reason, in my opinion, they got no proposals is because they didn't pay attention to the market. They didn't have the level of private development expertise representing them that made their project interesting to a developer. Developers got to make money. That's their business, and you have to position yourself so that they can make money, and you, the city in our case, can still meet your objectives. So we're asking for that kind of help, to help us define our objectives, put it out in a way that development community can respond to it and finance it and build a project that can provide workforce housing well into the future. That project will not move fast. Any notion that it was going to move fast was fantasy, but I think we have a path that we can get there now. And it will rely on private developers. The next project that we all know and love is the new Performing Arts Center. And, you know, I'm looking somewhere right there. So we just received, I just saw the concept plan yesterday for the first time of what it might look like. I'll tell you what my objectives have been since I got here, is whatever is developed in terms of a new facility needs to not be in the general fund and keep within the funding parameters that were set up by the city and the county back in 2019, I think it was. They created a district and they said any growth in property taxes within that district from the base year can be used to pay for the park and for a new performing arts center, improvements all throughout this geographic area. You're standing in something that was paid for, a renovation that was paid for in part by that district. It's called a tax increment financing district, and it generates revenue every year as property values increase. I believe that when the commission said, see what we can do with this performing arts center, can it move forward in a way that we can afford? So on the good side, what do we have? We have a site, had a site for years. We have a funding source in the tax increment financing district, and we have a community, we'll see, but I feel will generally support a new performing arts facility as long as it's not unreasonably expensive or unfairly burdens the city budget in the years to come. I think those three elements are in place. The last one has got to be tested. So can it happen? Yes. Can it happen? The first thing I did is said, the budget is nuts. We have to bring this thing into some level of budget reality, and that's the direction we finally have given. We need to reset our agreement with the foundation. This will require significant philanthropy and private sector involvement. So the foundation's been formed for the purpose of raising money. Without it, this will not happen. This is not going to get built based on city funds alone. Even if the county's in or out, it's not going to get built just based on public funds. It's got to rely heavily on donations, contributions, and participation from private funders. When those two things come together at an adequate level, I think the city of Sarasota can have a new performing arts center in the future. It ain't gonna happen in the next year or two or three. It's gonna take a while. In the meantime, we're investing in the Van Wezel to keep it operating. We don't know how long, but I can pretty much assure you 10 or 15 years, barring a catastrophic type storm. A storm much worse than Milton. We believe with a combination of what the Bay Park is doing and the resilience that we're working on with the Van Wezel, we can stand another Milton. Well, I think we've made, we learned a lot about flooding, as we all do, and I think we've got some things in place now to better flood-proof the Van Wezel. Who knows what the storms will be. I'm not sure we can withstand a Katrina, but I think we can withstand another Milton. And frankly, the federal government has been very helpful in hurricane recovery funds. We think we've made some progress, and the state has as well. And your state representatives that I just got finished knocking, they have carried the water on some help with the Van Wezel. So, they do a lot, and I don't mean to just hit them negatively, especially as a former state senator sitting in the audience listening to me. But pay attention. They help us, and then it's up to you guys to hold them accountable for the whole array of things that they end up being responsible for. So do I think a performing arts center can be built? I do. If the significant amount of local non-government money can be raised, I think we can do it. So we kind of touched on the Tallahassee thing. Pick your number. It's going to be property tax. It's going to be interference with, remember I'm the local government guy, interference with local land use things. I mean, there are so many preemptions being considered in Tallahassee right now that if I made a list of them, you would fall asleep. But just know that, and the good thing about the legislature is every year there's, I don't know, 1,000 or 2 bills introduced, and they can only muster a few hundred. So I have a theory on the legislature in Florida, by the way. I think there should be a constitutional amendment. They can only meet once every 2 years. I'm not done. For 3 weeks, they have to adopt a 2-year budget, and for every law they pass, they have to repeal one. Let's go with that. Now, the first 10 years will be easy. Then they're going to have to start getting into the laws that ought to be repealed anyway. But, okay, that does not represent the view of the city. I was totally editorializing.
No, I think that's it.
Okay, well, and then Kelly gave me a couple other things here. I'm trying to think, oh, there's that short-term rental thing again. I'm definitely punting that one. I will say one more thing about the next city manager. Give her or him a little latitude. They will make some changes. I had changes I would have loved to make. There's a certain unfairness in my 10-month tenure for me to make structural changes within the city that a new manager is going to come in a few months and have to create in their, the way they want to do it. So I've been reluctant to make them. I have a whole list. I'm happy to go over with whoever it is with them. Be a little patient on that side. It's going to take them a little while to get that going because they're also going to be doing all the public-facing things that we've talked about briefly today.
Thank you very much, Dave.
Very briefly, I'll leave on the back page. For those of you who drive North 41 or live in the neighborhoods abutting that, I've got a little update on the schedule for all the construction that's driving traffic through your neighborhood.
Thank you, Dave. And by the way, Dave got up to speed pretty fast, so I'm not sure how long we're going to wait for the new person. I just want to say that. Thank you very much, Dave. Very much appreciated. All right, we went a little overtime, so hang in there with me. Next up, oh, this is easy. We need to approve the January 3rd meeting minutes, and somebody made the recommendation that the meetings get included in the QR code. That was a really great idea, and that was done. It is in the QR code. So I need someone to make a motion to approve our January 3rd member meeting minutes.
So moved.
Dennis Bischoff, second. Second, Sherman Baldwin. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Passes. Moving right along. Old business, new city manager. How about that? So as I understand it right now, on February 23rd at the R.L. Taylor, everybody know where that is? Up off of Myrtle, R.L. Taylor. There will be a meet and greet for the final candidates for the role. If that date changes, we'll let you know via email, but right now, February 23rd, mark your calendar if you'd like to meet these people. Be there.
What time?
That I don't know. I would assume it's in the evening. It's usually 5-ish. But we will put it on the website. We will put it in the newsletter. Next up, neighborhood report. Nancy Kelly, our wonderful Nancy Kelly, is replacing Pat Robinson today, so we got an upgrade. Can someone bring a chair along for her? Thank you so much. Where are we going to kick off? How about
Carlotto, Indian Beach, Sapphire Shores. The only announcement we have is we have our annual picnic on March 8th at Sapphire Shores Park, and that'll be from 1 to 4. And if you want to eat, bring something along. It's a potluck.
Hello, can you hear me? Lynn Elkis, Gillespie Park. Beautiful things are happening at Gillespie Park. We have the new public art mural on 10th and Osprey. We also have plans to prep our gardens in the park so that we can make them even more beautiful than they were before. That's going to be taking place in February and early March. And we are also planning 2 exciting events. One is a garden tour on March 14th, and the other is a cakewalk and music celebration on the 28th of March. Thank you.
Scott Ashby with Leader Key Residents Association. We have our monthly meeting on Valentine's Day, and we have remote marine. It's a breakfast meeting, but you can come at 10. And the thing about boat is, I know they moved the aquarium out of the city, but they're going to add a lot more to their installations of their offices at City Park, more scientists and everything, so they're not going anywhere in the city limits. We support, we thank the commissioner for the help on the South Lido Park, which doesn't affect a whole lot of people, but the people in our South Island, it's pretty bad. And we hope eventually maybe the city's going to be able to take that park. And we also support Chris Goglia. There's a lot of people on Lido that think they're trying to wreck St. Arnold's. And then just turn the clock off, Kelly. We lost a giant last week on the key. Cindy Shostel died 5 years. She challenged cancer. Amazing. You have to see her come back, and then the old expression. She was the straw that stirred the drink, right? She kept the organization. She helped build it. I mean, she called, or I joined it. 50 years they were, and she helped build CCNA. We used to meet over at the fire station. You'd come in and she'd be putting the tables up and everything. So anyway, I don't know how to say it. I mean, that I just want to tell you, and we're feeling it. We love Cindy and we wish her well.
Before you go, real quick, we have a card for Cindy. If you could sign that before you leave, it'll be at the back table. Esther has a card that she's made for us to Carl for Cindy. Thank you.
Good morning, Suzanne Waxman from Tolles Court. We did have our neighborhood party, which was sponsored in part by our city grant. There was a tremendous success. We thank the leadership that showed up, and the artists were very happy with the big turnout. It was really a lot of fun, and thank you everybody who came.
Mike Hassett, Broadway Promenade, no announcements this month.
Sherman Baldwin Park East, just a couple things. We still continue to have move in and move out debris on our roads. It's something that's a pet peeve. It happens. We have a lot of transitioning going on in our Park East community, so it is a problem. We make the city. Kelly, thank you for also chiming in on that. It really helps our community. When the city seems to be aware of it, they get after it fairly quick for the most part. So, also really thank you, Ciera Coleman, for the Public Arts Project on 12th Street at the Ken Ham Vintage Building. That's really nice that it's permeating into the neighborhoods, this public arts program, so we really support it. Also on another, almost unrelated, the county last week forwarded a progress to really kill, basically, and that's my opinion, kill the charter fishing boat industry It's still devastated from the storms, folks. They're down 70%. Half the charter fishing boats went out of business due to losing business from the storms. And yet the county is going to limit to 100 medallions that they have to bid for, and that will stretch all the way from Northport to the airport. It's really excessive. And now the city of Sarasota is considering doing the same thing. The hospitality industry and charter fishing brings in hundreds of millions of dollars. People come here to fish, and they're going to be severely limited. There is a no surrender on the water demonstration that's happening at Nora Patterson Park this February 11th at 1 p.m. Please come out and support the local charter fishermen. These guys are putting food on their table by providing a really important service to the tourists that come in and want to fish. Thank you.
Before the next person goes, just for all the neighborhoods in District 1 that have the issue with the move-out debris that's left in the road, the city is working on improving their process. But for you as a neighborhood, if you see that debris for more than a week and it hasn't been orange tagged, contact co-compliance and they will get it picked up on the next round of garbage pickup. Look for that orange tag. If it hasn't been orange tagged, they don't know about it. Or the garbage guy didn't tag it. So make sure it's tagged after one round of garbage pickup and then they'll get picked up. Thanks.
Tom Zenek, San Remo. Unfortunately, Pat Roberts is not here today. I'd just like to thank him. We last month I mentioned that we have a speeding problem on specifically Tangier Terrace, and during the month we saw a white SUV, no marking on it, but when you get close, you can see a gentleman in there who obviously worked for Sarasota PD, and we appreciate the support. Thank you.
Tommy Diolano, Bay Island Siesta Key. I wanted to second the mention about Nancy being an upgrade. I had a great meeting with her this past week. She gave us a ton of direction, and already some of the connections that she put me in touch with have made a big impact on what we're trying to do with parks and with traffic and stuff. So thank you, Nancy.
Yay, Nancy.
Hi, Chris Scolia, St. Armand's. Scott, thank you. Scott Ashby down there, thank you for the plug. And Carl, our deepest sympathies. So sorry for your loss. What Scott down there was referring to is, I think 3 years ago, there were two different efforts by developers to, one, build hotels on St. Armand's, and two, raise the height of our commercial buildings. At the time, to have 3, maybe 4, or even 5-story buildings. Both those were defeated. Now 3 years later, the developers are at it again. The city's going to be hosting not just community workshops, but something called a visioning session, where a paid professional facilitator is going to invite anybody that's a stakeholder to come in and speak their mind. And I don't know what the outcome will be. I do appreciate the city's efforts, however. I've always said, please don't change zoning without talking to everybody. So many stakeholders affected by the traffic and the unintended consequences of this. So people will get a chance to have their say, and we'll see what the city commission wants to do. But that's going on and going to happen over the next month or two, I think. So thank you.
If I could just add to that for the membership, St. Armand's isn't just for the people that live at St. Armand's. It's all of our community, and we need to think about it that way too.
Rob Grant, Arlington Park. Real quick this morning, Nancy, I do have one item at our last membership meeting. Somebody mentioned that there is a flagship stop sign at Clematis Place in Hyde Park. It's actually where, it's the south entrance to Arlington Park. It's the pedestrian cross right there. I guess it's supposed to be there's a red light, a blinking light on the stop signs. It's been out for a very long time. I guess they've submitted a couple of click to fixes and it's not fixed. So they asked if we bring it up. So doing that. And then also we have this month our concert in the park. Let me pull up the information here. It's February 22nd, so in a couple of weeks. I put some flyers out. Oh, thank you, Chris. There you go. So it's free. It's February 22nd from 12 to 3. The band plays from 1 to 3. We set up right next to the dog park. We ask everybody to bring lunch. We provide desserts, soda, and water. And the band this year, as you can see on the flyer, is Local Honey. It's a local band. They actually live in Arlington Park, so we're very excited to have a local band appearing. And it's open to everybody. Thanks, Nancy, for helping us with that and getting us all the materials that we need to make that happen, and the flyers, or I should say the mailer. And then, so please, everybody come. It's a good time. We usually have about at least 100 people there, so it's really fun. And then I had a question about the trash pickup. If you call code compliance, is it a code compliance complaint, and do you have to give your name and stuff? Or,
Yes.
Okay, that's important to know. Yeah. All right. So.
I always don't hesitate to do it, so
I understand. I just didn't know if this one was like something special where you didn't have to.
No, you have to give your name.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey Rob, if you want your flyer to be put on the website and on the email, please send that to a soft copy to Jim.
Oh,
Thank you.
Dean Anderson, Avondale. One announcement, our annual business meeting is February 22nd at Tamiami Tap. I'm done. See ya. This is the shortest report I've ever made.
So, see, that's why I shouldn't do this.
You got it? Our annual business meeting is February 22nd, 12 to 1:30 at Tamiami Tap in Laurel Park. And I wanted to make one announcement about our very famous resident in Avondale, Molly Cardamone. She and her husband are relocating to a assisted living facility just on the south side of Laurel Park, and in the near future. And we're honoring her by making her an honorary emeritus member of our board. So Ron, take it easy on her. Thank you. Go Patriots.
Please, did you $5 of it? Dennis Bischoff, Lido Shores. Really have no announcements. I just want to offer my condolences to Carl for the loss of Cindy.
Mary Butler, Emerald Park Neighborhood Association. I just want to report out about the community workshop that was held on December the 2nd. This is involving coastal recycling. It was formerly waste management. It's located on at 3100 North Washington Boulevard. The community meeting, the community workshop. I have the minutes, and so I'm going to share that. I'll pass it around because I made some copies. And I just wanted to highlight a few things that the neighborhood was talking about. They gave questions, and then they gave a response. And one of the things the neighbors was concerned about was the hours of operation. We had neighbors saying they'd be waking up at 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, trucks coming in, things like that. And I just want to say just this one response. The concern is over noise of existing operations. And they responded by saying, existing condition use for how the operations are today was approved in 1999. So that's a big concern. Like I said, we got neighbors waking up 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning, trucks coming in and out. But anyway, I'm gonna pass the copy around, and actually there are 2 sheets. I thought it was one, but what it is just a meeting notes, and then there's a response to the meeting notes. And then the last thing is, following the workshop, it was brought up, it was a concern that the coastal recycling, storing, loading, and unloading dumpsters on the southern portion of the property and operating outside of the established hours have been received and reviewed by the staff. The city sent a notice of violation on January 14, 2026. Coastal waste and recycling will have 10 days from the receipt of the notice of violation to correct the issue. So that was brought up at the meeting as well. Next thing I want to say is we'll be celebrating Black History Month. One of the things we're doing tonight is called UTC Soul Live. It's this Saturday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. and it's at the Green at UTC. There's live music, there's Kumba dancing, there's food, and then there's vendor marketing. Thank you. I think that's all I have for that, but I'll pass the sheet around. Thank you.
Before you go, if I could just add to Mary's comments on the community workshop, I have made a point of attending almost every community workshop in the last year, and the turnout for that workshop was the highest I'd ever seen in any community, and the notes do not accurately reflect what happened in that meeting by any remote stretch of the imagination. I called code compliance the next day because they promised they would do it, and they didn't. And I spoke with Diane, and they sent somebody out, and that is part of violation. Yes, I had to put my name in, but I didn't care. This recycling location is a real problem for this community that we need to think about very strongly as a community. Sorry, go ahead.
Mike Bennett, Plymouth Harbor. First of all, I've enjoyed my first meeting. One of the things that I want to be working on diligently, and I'm hoping to work with St. Armand's and Lido and the rest of it, is traffic calming on coming off Loop. Yeah, it's a killer. The noise is a killer. And people don't think about the amount of noise that the cars are generating today until you're living in Plymouth Harbor along that road and you start waking up at night because of the noise. We've got to do something about the noise and the speed coming off of it. But welcome to be here, and no matter what Dave Bullock said, when I left the Florida Legislative Senate, it was running extremely well.
Martha Horton with Hudson Bayou. We're having a music event at our Palmetto Park this Sunday from 1 to 4. An acoustic duo that will be singing. And I don't know I have a question about the irrigation changes. Swiftline is now saying you can only irrigate once a week instead of twice a week. I haven't seen much about that, so I'm hoping somebody can talk about that. It's happening this Sunday.
I think it's drought related, but
It is drought related.
Elizabeth Rose, Bay Point Park. I've talked it out. I'm Judy Miller from Golden Gate Point Association. We have our annual membership meeting coming up February 14th, 9:30 to 11 at Sarasota Yacht Club. Our speaker will be Trey Hammett from the Bay Park Conservancy. And Sherman Baldwin will fill us in on what's happening at Hart's Landing. Accomplishments for the year 2025. We restored our much storm damaged, beautiful landscaping around Golden Gate Point. We held the 2 most well-attended social events in the history of the Neighborhood Association. We organized all the condominium board chairs from our 23 condominium buildings so that we've got an effective communication system with them and among them founded. We've welcomed new neighbors who have moved into the Evolution and the Peninsula, and by the end of this year we will have new neighbors in the Owen and in 688. We are still dealing with the terrible problem of construction workers taking up our public parking spaces, which causes all kinds of problems for the people who need those spaces for their caretakers and visitors. So we deal with that constantly, had several meetings. And we are upgrading the original interlocal agreement. Remember, we're the city's only residential self-taxing district. Those boundary specifications were set up in 2005. In 2025, with all of the development that has happened since, we have a committee that will work on modernizing the agreements between the city and our neighborhood as to what the city should be responsible for, what our neighborhood is responsible for. So at any rate, we got a lot going on.
John Dieter, Bird Key Homeowner Association. I don't have a report this month.
Hi, Jody Geiger, Bayou Oaks. We had a fantastic, successful dedication for our art mural, and I want to thank City Art Program, Ciera, Ed Walsh, and our Vice President, Cassie Yacobazi, for all the work that they did to get that going. I also want to let everybody know that we have 2 spots in our neighborhood, the Succulent Society and Rob Branch Gardens. will be open for plant sales on February 14th, and it's open to everybody. Hope you come.
Marissa Dawson, Central Coconut. We have a lot of things to be thankful for. First of all, thank you to Jerry Fogel, Parks and Rec, Sarasota Bay Estuary Program, Bayou Oaks, for their help with the MLK restoration and waterfront project that started. There is going to be a kayak launch there for the public, so that's being worked on right now. Thank you to Newtown Nation, Ringling College, Sarasota Bay Estuary Program, Housing Association, County and City, et cetera, et cetera. We had a very successful Echo Community Day, January 17th. We also had a tribute to Barbara Powell Harris at the Orange Blossom Community Garden on that day. And we are having a celebration of life for Barbara Powell Harris on Sunday, February 22nd at 3 p.m. So after you've attended the Arlington Park concert, you can come on over and celebrate Barbara with us. It'll be at Pioneer Park between 11th and 12th Streets, Coconut and Tamiami, in the little chapel that's there, that little historic chapel. So please come out. More thank yous to Art Lindemann, again, City, County, University of Florida Extension for the cleanup for the butterfly garden that was on January 31st. Thank you to the city engineers. We had a meeting and we're going to be talking about the pedestrian crosswalk at 14th and Coconut. We're waiting on funding for the 14th Street speed bump. There's a glass art exhibit the 13th through the 15th at Ringling College. And Ron and CCNA, thank you again for all your help with U.S. recycling. Thank you, thank you, thank you to so many people, a lot going on with us, and we're very grateful.
Morning, David Lowe, Downtown Sarasota Condo Association. Joe Polzak was our guest speaker at the DISCA board meeting the other day, and Joe made some great remarks. Two things that DISCA is following closely is a special events ordinance, which I believe is now coming back to the commission in March 2. Second, this keeps going on and on. We were thankful that Joe spoke about really this time moving this in the sound ordinance ahead. And I think his commitment was, Commissioner Jen, if you heard his words, was to do this before the commissioners' summer break, so to speak. I'm a little bit confused by Mr. Bullock's comments about short-term rentals. I can tell you I expressed a comment about the Ciera project, basically across the street from here. That's 282 units actively promoting 3-day rentals. There are way over 500 bedrooms in that massive building. They just hit the MLS listing. A 2-bedroom unit is $1.97 million. So we're interested in Mr. Bullock's plans to move the short-term rental, and hopefully a site plan for this project is not going to be approved until this gets further resolved. That's all I've got.
My name is Paul Scholl. I'm representing the Rosemary District with pleasure. Thank you. And what I mostly want to report on is our Rosemary District, I believe, quarterly meeting that we had on February 3rd at Fogartyville. And 3 commissioners were present, and I see Jen's over here, and it was really nice to get that feeling of the community neighborhood going. We had some special speakers. Police Chief Rex Trosh did a presentation which was fabulous, and maybe you've heard a lot about the new real-time operations center, which is a lot responsible for a huge decrease in crime in the city. And he had pictures of that, talked quite extensively about that. They were told, along with that then, the mobile communication unit, mobile command unit. You can get tours of that, and it's like taking the office right to the site where there are problems. Anyway, huge reduction in crime. I don't have the stats on it, but it's really quite impressive how, say, a thief steals a car, and how, with all the cameras that are out there now on the streets, that car could be followed quite easily and then identified by the license plate. And so he went through quite a long dissertation about that. Also, we're going to get a drone, and officer, I don't know if he's here yet, but he didn't talk about it, but a drone in October that can go within 2 minutes to anywhere in the city and go to a crime scene and take photographs. Pretty impressive. Anyway, then Diana spoke, Diana Shaheen. And it was a great.
Sorry, Paul, you got a 2-minute limit. And
Oh, am I over time?
You're over time.
Okay. I don't have to. I'm done.
You know for next time.
Jerry Fagan from Glen Oaks Ridge. Nothing new to report. All I'll say is go Patriots.
Carry on, Joanne.
Joanne Gonette, Glen Oaks Gardens. We're grateful, Betsy and I, to be sitting at the table as a new neighborhood. We have nothing new to report since this is our first time. The only thing is, with the list here, if anyone did not receive the letter in their emails for presidents, delegates, or assistant delegates, please get back to us and let us know that you're not getting the mail, the email messages. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Alan Pariser. I'm representing South Point Center Park. Only 2 things of interest. We are tentatively planning on March 18th, 5 to 7 p.m. at the Senior Friendship Center on Brother Gian Way, a public speed management educational event that will be hosted by the city traffic planners. The agenda is probably a little bit TBD at this point, but we hope to find out what the city plans in terms of future changes to city speed limits, as well as an update on the speed measurement program that we heard about earlier. Corinne Arriaga and Alva Marie Corrales are planning this event. I believe it will be publicized by the city at this point, although it's frankly a little TBD.
They are our March 7th speaker, and at that meeting, they will let you know when each meeting is. There will be a meeting in District 1, District 2, and District 3, so you can not have to travel all the way to the other side of the city. There will be one in each neighborhood. There will be one in Arlington Park, one in Robert L. Taylor, and one at Cedar Friendship Center.
Great. Glad that I was able to break the news to everyone, but thank you very much. So it's a little bit in process, but mark the dates and let your neighborhood know, because I'm sure, like every other neighborhood, everybody believes that all the speeders are concentrated in their particular street. So we're going to find out the truth. I think it'll be a very popular venue and make sure everybody stays calm. Secondly, much less interesting, May 13th will be our annual business meeting, hosting elections, and hopefully we'll get some public speakers from the city to talk about some topics of also interest. Probably flooding will be the next topic, since we'll be approaching hurricane season, and of course everybody waits till the day before the storm to decide to do something about it. So May 13th will be our next meeting. Thank you.
Ron, do you have some for Laurel Park?
Yeah, Ron Cashton for Laurel Park. And Laurel Park's actually asking a formal request for help from CCNA. There's a rezone request without a site plan that's occurring right on the borders of Laurel Park. The city has taken the position that for this review, even though it's supposed to be, the standard of review is the most intense use permitted, the city has taken a position to ignore any impact for Live Local. And this rezone is going from ineligible Live Local to eligible Live Local. And so if this rezone goes through, This picture shows you can put an 18-story building right next to single-family homes. We consider that the most intense use, and this is something that will affect every neighborhood. And the city, we don't think this is a legally correct position. We've spoken to attorneys, but we think at this point we need to get neighborhoods involved because the city has taken a position of officially stating to ignore any impact for Live Local. Thank you.
Make it clear, the position is coming from the city attorney. They made like a legal opinion.
It's coming from both the city attorney and from Development Services. Development Services reached out to the city's attorney, and it's spurious legal argument, but that's what they're standing by. So I think we really do need to get involved because the text seems fairly plain and straightforward, and the city's taken an unusual position.
So what I'd like to propose is for the board at our next board meeting, which is in 2 weeks or less, to get into detail with this and bring it back to the membership. And the reason for that is, I don't know if you remember, but at our last meeting there was a conversation around from Sarasota Housing Authority around what was happening at McCowan Towers, and she didn't feel that CCNA had given her support. But what we learned after she brought it up the first time is there was another member neighborhood association that did support what was happening at McCowan Towers. So we didn't feel as a board we could take sides when two separate member organizations wanted two different things. We don't feel it's right that we should take sides from one member neighborhood over another. So we'll need to get in to understand some more detail from Laurel Park on this, from the board, and then bring it back to you all as a membership, if everyone's okay with that. Yeah. We fully understand.
One other comment. When Kelly says you're done, Diana already knows about that. That door back there is broken. You can't leave from there. You'll have to leave from that door.
Oh, you can't even leave from it.
Jill, it's broken right now?
Yeah, I couldn't go
Oh,
back
well,
in.
there you go, the door's broken. But you know what, we are the first inaugural meeting in the new room, so I think that's pretty exciting. I think that just a couple things as a reiteration. February 22nd, if you're available, Barbara Powell Harris memory, and Carl, my deepest condolences. I miss seeing Cindy, that was always her chair right there. And I appreciate you being here with us today. Thank you, everyone. Meeting is adjourned. Scott, have something else?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Kelly, obviously your knee is bothering you.
Oh, yeah.
And you certainly, you should be commended and really